So hi guys and welcome to Conspiracy Friday, where today we'll be debunking multi-tom-tom.
Now, there are some idiots going around the internet claiming that the angles to Polaris proves a basketball Earth. Au contraire.
Yeah, it does prove, because if Polaris is different on one side of the Earth and it isn't on the other, that means that the Earth is round. But you obviously don't agree with that, don't you?
Mon ami. Actually, it proves the opposite. It proves a flat Earth.
And you want to tell us how?
I will show towards the end of this video how it works on a flat Earth and doesn't on a ball Earth. They claim that the first person to create a globe and then incorporate parallels
Prove the globe, you mean. Prove the globe.
and meridians was...
They did an experiment and it proved round Earth.
Eratosthenes. Yeah, that...
See, like he did by comparing angles of the midday sun at two places. As you could read in the article that multi-tom-tom put.
The distance to the sun and the circumference of the Earth using two sticks on the ground. It says he created the first global projection of the world, incorporating longitudes and latitudes. No, he did not. All he did was create a perfect sphere and divided it equally. He knew that a circle must equal 360 degrees. Just listen to this entry in Wikipedia. Eratosthenes' method to calculate the Earth's circumference has been lost. What has been preserved is the simplified version described by Cleomedes to popularize the discovery. And look at the diagram on the right.
Okay, let's look at the diagram. Well, I mean, he didn't divide a circle, but yeah, he did use a method for the cities, and the simplified version diagram, as you could see, it's simplified. Eratosthenes' true method has been lost, however.
Underneath, the caption reads, measure of Earth circumference according to Cleomedes' simplified version.
How is this going to link back to Polaris? Just saying.
Based on the wrong assumption that Syene is on the Tropic of Cancer and on the same meridian as Alexandria. Am I reading Martian or is it English?
Am I reading Martian or is it English? You're reading English.
It's crystal clear that Eratosthenes is bollocks. I don't think he even existed.
Eratosthenes did exist. Cleomedes, yes, he assumed wrong that the line was at the Tropic of Cancer, but that still doesn't mean that his experiment did not prove round Earth.
Cleomedes assumes that the distance between Syene and Alexandria was 5,000 stadia. He assumes the simplified but false hypothesis that Syene was precisely on the Tropic of Cancer, saying that at local noon on the summer solstice.
So he assumed wrong. So they're still on like the Earth. He assumed in the wrong places, but there's still places on the Earth. And the method still proves around Earth. He just guessed in the wrong places.
The sun was directly overhead. He assumes the simplified but false hypothesis that Syene and Alexandria are on the same meridian. So, as you can see, it's all a lot of bollocks. They attribute so much to Eratosthenes. Under the heading Eratosthenes method, it says Eratosthenes' method was actually more complicated, as stated by the same Cleomedes, whose purpose was to present a simplified version of the one described in Eratosthenes' book. That is a contradiction because under the heading Works, the last paragraph, the last sentence reads, "Unfortunately, there are only fragments left of his works after the destruction of the Library of Alexandria." So how the fuck do you know he did anything?
Fragments, they said. He didn't say the whole book was destroyed. They said fragments. Okay, what do you think fragments mean? Do you think it means nothing? Fragments, parts of the book has been left, but most of it is burnt. It's very unfortunate, but we know he still did it because pieces of the book were left.
This is all bollocks. It's like when you research Pythagoras or Aristarchus or Hipparchus, they make a disclaimer at the end saying none of their written work exists. So these characters could all be made up.
Aristophanes was made up. The others were, but Aristophanes is not made up. We found pieces of his book, fragments of his book.
This map shows the known world at the time of Eratosthenes. You can see Europe, the Mediterranean Sea, and
as you can notice, the map is a bit incorrect. It's incorrect a bit, like there's lots of distortions like that. Yeah, this is an incorrect map, but it still holds some truth.
now northern with Arabia, and the furthest east they'd go is India. So what Eratosthenes did was not really scientific because he didn't know anything about the world that he lived in at the time.
Okay, so let's say that you were right and that Aristophanes' method was not useful. What about in today's world where we know the whole world? What about we repeat Aristophanes' experiments? It would prove round Earth.
It wasn't until the invention of the sextant that real oceanic exploration began. This is Sir Edmund Halley, yes, he of the Halley's Comet. He was a member of the Royal Society and later to become the second Astronomer Royal after John Flamsteed. Halley is credited with charting
Nothing wrong with that.
many stars in the southern hemisphere, and this gave the British Navy an edge because up until the invention of the gyro compass, they used star charts for oceanic navigation.
Hey, you know what the compass relies on? Around Earth.
So with this new southern hemisphere star chart, the British began to have an edge over the others, and this is how the British
This actually, and since now it had a stronger navy, it almost took over the world. Okay, you said that Polaris proves a flat Earth. You just brought Polaris for the first minute and then you just completely forgot about it. I mean, you're still trying to prove flat Earth, I guess.
Empire came to be. They quickly had dominance over the ocean and they chartered passage to New Zealand and Australia. So the British had the edge. And don't forget their patriotic song. Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves.
Okay.
So,
Are you giving us a history lesson? I mean, you're getting something right, I guess. But do you want to prove flat Earth? How is this going to link to flat Earth? Let's see.
Edmund Halley has been credited with doing much work on longitudes. But the problem
Longitudes and latitudes, things on around Earth.
was that he believed the Earth was a basketball. Now, the ball Earth Decepticons will use a diagram similar to this to deceive you, because they will use the red lines and present it as angles to Polaris, but of course that is wrong, because as you move further away, the star should lower towards the horizon, as shown by the green line. So this can only happen on a flat Earth. If the Earth was a basketball, then as you move towards the equator, the star will be obstructed by the curvature of the Earth.
Actually, as you move down the equator, the star will actually like slowly disappear until it reaches the southern hemisphere, where you have a different set of stars. I mean, what you said of it goes lower down the horizon actually does hold some truth, because at some point you're going to see a different set of stars, because you actually just proved round Earth. Good job. Because at some point the Polaris completely disappears, and then you see a different set of stars in the southern hemisphere. That's why barely any flat earthers come from Australia, because they cannot see Polaris because they see a different set of stars.
From the equator, from the most you would see would be up to point B. It would be impossible to see Polaris from near the equator.
It is possible to see Polaris from the equator, but beyond the equator, you would start to see a different set of stars in the southern hemisphere.
It can only happen on a flat Earth. So
nobody said that you can see Polaris through the whole world.
We have to expose the globe lies. The Earth is flat and stationary.
That's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's Conspiracy Friday. Until then, I'll see you next time. Next week for Conspiracy Friday, and tomorrow for a video, and today for a horror extra. Now, bye. By the way, I hope that you liked the gameplay when I'm debunking the guy multi-tum-tum instead of me pausing. If you didn't like it, I will stop doing it.